What is going on, guys? Chris here, ironcoregyms.com, and we are here today. I got Josh. What's going on, man?
How you doing, guys?
So Josh is loaded up here. We got 10 pounds ankle weights on each side, 20-pound kettlebells, 66-pound weight vest. I got nothing on here, so I don't got to get in the cage with somebody and fight for my life and beyond. So, Josh, when did you get into fighting? Like, give me a little background story on yourself.
So I got into fighting pretty young. I got into wrestling in middle school. Had a social studies teacher who asked me to come out for the team. And one of my wrestling coaches happened to be an MMA fighter at a local gym. So I would train with him every once in a while. We would go there during, school closings and stuff. Eventually, I started training once I graduated full time. So once I turned 18, I just locked myself in the gym. Started training pretty hard. Went away for college, so I took a small break, and then ended up having a kid. So once I had him, I knew I had to kind of buckle back down and get back into things. So I got back into the gym, and that's where I've been the last, say, 5 years.
That's awesome. That's crazy. It's one of those things too. You said you have a kid now, so that changes life altogether.
Oh yeah.
Where now it's like, I'm a father. I got 3 kids at home too, so everything I do, like going out for a walk right now with you here, I could say go around the block and I'm going to sit here and wait for you, but I'm like, you know what? I want to get some cardio in too. I just turned 40, so getting out, getting moving, staying moving. You want to be there for the long term with your kids too. So it's the same thing as they get older. You're gonna be like, yo, Dad would get up on Saturday mornings at 7 o'clock and go see this crazy guy in Rosetto and walk around the block with ankle weights on and weight vests and carrying 20-pound kettlebells here. And, he just wanted to get better and take it to the next level. So, give us your kind of like your fighting, recently, past year or two,
Yeah.
matches and stuff like that.
So the last 2 years, really, I went from amateur to advanced amateur. So that's when it really starts opening up. Longer rounds, competition's better because it's people who are continuing to fighting, not just kind of, having their first or second fight. So last year I actually had my first title fight, where I came in great shape, but ended up coming short. And that just kind of stuck with me, knowing how close it was. And I never wanted to lose again. Had a fight after that, and I got right back in the win column. And I've just kind of been grinding, not really focusing on getting a lot of fights, but just focusing on really expanding my game and getting the right opponents to show my talents and show what I've learned.
That's awesome. And that plays into everyday life too. We always preach is, you lost that one time, and it's like every day I wake up, and I always tell this story too. And obviously just getting to know you too. I have a powerlifting background. So, I always kept on my door at home, all the records. So every morning I'd wake up, I'd go past that door. I'm not feeling good today. I look at that door and I'm like, man, that record is right there in front of me. So mentally, I'm preparing for that next level. Mentally, I'm preparing to go out and do whatever I got to do that day to turn that mentality on to be the best version of myself, and probably the same for you too is I'd put a picture of myself, however you lost that fight, put it right in front of me. So every day I wake up, if you're getting choked out or whatever it is, and you see that every day, it's like, oh man, this sucks. But every day you wake up and you just think, oh, I'm tired today. I don't feel good today. I got to ask you another question. So here's one for you too. If you are feeling sick on fight day, do you get the day off or do you still got to fight?
Still got to fight.
And I remember when I first opened up, there was a local wrestler who trained with me, and obviously things are different now with COVID and things, but all that stuff going on, but we'll leave that for another day. This was 13 years ago, and his dad brought him in the one day, sick, very sick. I was like, dude, you should bring him home. He said, Chris, we had a conversation about this. He said he doesn't get a day off. If he's sick on the state tournament, you don't get to go back in time and take the next day and rest. And would you know, that year, he finished 3rd in the state that year, wrestled with broken ribs and bronchitis. So that mentality right there is the same thing. They always say practice what you preach, but knowing what you do and you put into your practice, I'm sure you see the same thing as well.
Oh yeah. I know one of my fights, I wasn't feeling great. probably 2 weeks out, which is when you're supposed to be feeling the best.
Yeah.
I came down with nasty cold. It was in the wintertime, so all types of sickness going around. And there's nothing I could do. I would pull out a week before a fight, all over cold. So, you know, that's when you just got to train smart.
Yep.
It's not about training hard
Right.
when you're sick. Train smart, do what you can. Don't overdo yourself, because that's when you make it worse.
Right.
You want to feel better quickly. You don't want to, you know, drag it out, you know, 2-3 weeks, and you got this small cold that just won't go away.
Yeah.
Hydration, lots of liquid. That's a big thing.
Yeah, that was what I was gonna say too. And it's crazy to think about that stuff. And I'm just thinking out loud here. People are probably like, what are we doing? There's a guy walking with a camera, and the other guy here that's like ankle weights on and freaking weight vest here.
Getting better.
Getting better, yeah. But, you know, preparing your mind for that stuff. And I think that hit the nail on the head too, is, you know, taking the time off, where mentally you're probably screwing yourself too. Where it's like, you know, I got to go in, coach, I'm not feeling 100%, but I got to give at least 80 that day. And, you know, trying to get better in that aspect too, where, you know, I'm still continue to go there. I'm hydrating. I'm doing my ice baths. I'm doing my saunas. I'm doing IV bags, whatever it is to, you know, to get yourself better there. And being around the right mentality there too, where, you know, certain people you go see, they're going to tell you, you know what, you need to take a break. And you're like, I can't. Like, I physically can't. You know, it's you know, the same thing. These guys and the professional athletes, the same thing. I can't tell you how many times Jordan or Kobe Bryant, all these guys here, the stories of those guys having the flu in the finals and this and that. It's like, dude, you wait your entire life to get to that point there. And mentality-wise, you know, the world is watching you too. So it's like, you know, and that proves too is in your sport too, mentally wise, like it's just, there's a different level of thinking with that too. And I'm sure you deal with that as well.
Yeah. Man, my sport is, I want to say like 90% mental, you know?
Yeah.
Just like if you're trying to lose weight, you're dieting, it's 90% diet, you know, the other 10% lifting weights. When you're in MMA, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, even anything combat wise, it's a lot of mental. You know, once you get to a certain level, everybody has good technique. Everybody's going to be strong. Everybody's going to, you know, go through hard practices and have good coaching. But the difference is that, you know, that mental state, are you able to push through that last round? Are you able to push through that last minute? You know, if you get knocked down, are you able to get back up and you know, keep swinging, or you know, get a reversal, get a takedown, whatever you need. And that's kind of, you know, the hardest part to grasp, because not a lot of people are born with it, but you can definitely develop it. But it takes time, it takes grit. You just gotta stay consistent and not be discouraged.
So it kind of goes into, you know, what we're doing now. So so when you're doing your fights and stuff like that, how many rounds, like what's the time limit for all that stuff?
So now my fights are 3 rounds, 3 minutes. So it's a 9-minute fight. Doesn't seem like anything crazy, but I mean, when you're in there, those 3 minutes can be grueling. So during training, I mean, we'll do,
Morning, guys.
you know, 10 rounds, you know, 3, 4, 5 minutes each round, just to get us prepared for, you know, when we're in that third round, like, this isn't nothing. I've done, you know, 10 rounds on a Thursday night. You know, I've done, you know, 8 rounds on a Saturday morning. Like, this third round, you know, it's cake.
Yeah.
And that's where, you know, that's where I want to be. That's where I'm trying to get to as well. Just being able to know when you're in the heat, it's not that hot.
Yeah. That's the same thing we're doing here. We're at 9 minutes right here walking, and I want to ask him if he's tired, but I'm like, you know what? It is what it is, man. We're just going to keep going, because, you know, it's that last fight, the last period, the third round, where you let off the gas pedal just a little bit, just a tad bit, and you are done. I remember going out to state tournament, my first time going out there. This is probably 10, 11 years ago. And the one kid I was watching, he was getting beat the entire match, the whole time. I forget how many wrestling rounds there are there, but he got through first round, second round. Is there 3 rounds of wrestling?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the third period came around. He was getting beat real bad. And all of a sudden, like, that kid let off the gas pedal a little bit, spun around and pinned him. And I'm like, holy crap, man. Like, that kid gave up just an inch right there, and the kid took him and did it. And I was just like, it's crazy where that point comes into that, and then it comes into going back to like we first talked about, like with your kid growing up, like, man, Iggy's gonna see this video one day, like, holy crap, my dad was out walking around with probably over 100 pounds of weight, strapped to him here, where, now mentality wise, I'm thinking to myself, third period right now, where, how'd you lose the last fight you lost to, when you lost that one?
It was just split decision.
Split, okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm sure you got choked out once in your lifetime, right?
I haven't got choked out yet in a fight, but in training all the time.
All the time. So there.
Yeah, get my ass beat off constantly.
Yeah. So you think about that stuff right there too. Now it's like, mentality wise, you're just like, holy cow, like, you're trying to get to that last to the bell. You're trying to get to the bell, where you can, live to fight another day, and doing all this stuff mentality wise comes back into that, and pushing yourself to that too. So it's your first time up here on a Saturday morning at Iron Core. What was your mindset coming into this? Like I said, we didn't rehearse any of this stuff, so I'm curious to see. I know you had a good conversation with Nate during the week, so I'm sure he filled you in a little bit. But
yeah, no, I knew we were gonna get after it. I wasn't too sure what we were gonna do. I've been following you for a while, and I know some guys who have previously worked with you. So I kind of had a general idea, but once you're actually in the environment, it's completely different.
Yeah.
Once the music's going.
What was your take when you walked in and Alicia Keys was on the radio this morning?
I was digging it.
Yeah.
I'll listen to anything, whatever gets, me moving.
Yep.
But once I heard that turn off and the other music turn on, I knew it was time to just lock in and get focused.
It's one of those things too, where, I always told guys too, I'm sure you can go to like your background of everything you do, is you're always on that mental high going up to a fight the week before, the month before. You're always up all the time, and going to the gym, you got the freaking death metal on, you got the rock on, and you get there, you put it on again, and it's like your body's so high all the time there, where you probably felt a little like relaxation, like, like you came in, the warm-up, the relaxation there, the music's kind of, if you cry a little bit, you hit those different emotions there, where it's like, until you do it and understand it, it's like, it's an incredible feeling there. And same thing playing football. Like guys always tell them, Friday, go to school in the morning. You're all amped up for the game. You have the pep rally. You have all this going on. By the end of the first quarter, you're like, I'm tired. I'm mentally exhausted, because there's so much going on with everything you got. And, it's that point there where you got to go down a little bit and hit that emotion. And all of a sudden it's like, before the game starts, the warm-ups, you got the crowd, you got the band, like, so it's just, some people are different, man. That's my mentality with that stuff. And, what's your take on that stuff? I mean, is that something you kind of feel too, or?
Yeah, I've always been the type to when things start getting, crazy, things start getting loud, I don't want to say quiet, but I zone out.
Yeah.
I lock in, I focus, and I take everything in. Especially like when I'm getting ready for a fight. I remember my first fight walking out was actually at the Wind Creek Casino. And I've never fought before. That was the first time I'm walking out. And I'm walking out in front of a sold out crowd of 3,000 people. And the last time I competed, there was maybe 200 people in a crowd at a college tournament. So it was, I'm not gonna lie, I choked up as I look around the corner and I see all these shadows and just hear all this music. But as you do it and you learn how to control those emotions, and you start using them. A lot of people say, butterflies they can be good or bad.
Yeah.
I try to hone those and just try to focus on the task. It takes time though. Shit was not the first couple fights. They're everything leading up to it, the fight themselves, it's all just a blur. But once you understand how to control that, you become a lot more present in the moment.
Yeah.
And it's a completely different feeling.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. It's, when my last squat meet or competition, when I lifted, I'm gonna head back there. We did, my last competition was squatting 565 pounds. And, same thing there, you got a crowd around you and stuff like that. As I'm squatting down, all I could hear in the background was just my coach yelling at me. That is all I heard. Is that something too you feel like when you're in the cage, like, you got thousands of people screaming and yelling, and is that the same thing with you? Do you feel like that is you just zone into that?
So like I said, my first couple fights, I couldn't hear anything. I would just hear, it was like a humming noise. But now that I've become more present, I'm able to hear my coaches as if they're right next to me.
Yeah.
And that's a different feeling when you're able to zone everything out and just listen to, the 2 or 3 people that are across the cage. Like I said, you're a lot more present and things just start clicking. Things
Right.
feel better, they go better. So
Until you probably get your friends and stuff like, did you hear me yelling at you? I'm like, no.
not at all.
Not
Yeah,
at all,
my
man.
mom
Like,
all the time, she's like, did you hear me yell?
Yeah.
No
I'm like,
shot.
I'd love to hear you and listen, but like, I'm going to get turned over and kicked in the head, but if I don't pay attention here. So,
Yeah.
all right, we're back at the gym here, man. Looking forward to training you. You started with me on Tuesday. What did we end up doing on Tuesday? 315 on the trap bar there. I'm sure your lower back was burning up.
I was sore for a couple of days.
Sore for a couple of days, but it's that mentality, man, of, surrounding yourself with the right people and preparing yourself for the end game here and, continuing to get better. So, Josh, looking forward to training you, man, and keep getting after it, man.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.